Here's Mertens again, twisting and turning towards the key. And he gets the help from Geenan. Wearing his colours on his sleeve there, or on his, certainly on his shoulder.
See Liddell circle underneath.
And that's great play. And how often do you have to bounce the ball?
You have 10 seconds with possession of the ball before you either need to bounce or pass.
So it's a lot longer than basketball, I suppose.
Much longer.
We often see players just carry the ball in from halfway if they've got the pace.
But this is also a quadriplegic sport, so it's a lot harder to dribble for some of these guys.
Not yet halfway through the first quarter. And very little between these two sides so far.
So far, a close contest as expected.
And it's a big game for both teams, in particular Canada. Kevin Orr knows his team came in as many people's gold medal contenders, but they're under pressure now. They have to win this game and also beat Sweden as well. And for Belgium, it's mightily tough because tomorrow they've got Australia.
Well, Canada's had a couple of great games with Sweden as well. I expect that to be a great match to watch. That'll be happening tomorrow afternoon. They got to win this one to stay in contention. That's what they're focused on.
David Mannion with us here on Paralympic.org, where you can watch all the action here from London 2012. You can also like the Paralympic movement on Facebook at facebook.com/Paralympic Games, or follow us on Twitter at Paralympic.
Looks like the referee's getting something clarified here.
Maybe it's a
clock.
The clock, it looks to be. Usually, when it's this sort of delay, it's usually something technical like that.
Unfortunately, moments like this really can change the momentum of a game. But neither team seems to have any control at this point, so...
I suppose Belgium will be the team who would be keen to keep things going until the end of the first quarter.
Kevin Orr looks like he's making some substitutions for Canada.
And it's a balancing act as well, isn't it, to make sure you stay beneath the 8 points.
I'm sure they know their lines well enough, unless they have some crazy injuries, that we shouldn't get into a situation where the coach would put in an illegal line. Not at this level of the game. That's Fabien Lavoie, one of the fastest players in the world.
And he bounced off a couple of challenges there before showing his pace.
You'll see him on his side or upside down several times today. Ian Chan with a nice pickup.
Canadians have the turnover. And he's still got support from Lavoie.
Trying to fight his way across. He should be able to get past the low pointer.
Just about keeping inside the key there before the challenge came in from Verhagen. Still playing this sport at the age of 46. All of these Belgian players are part of a national programme. They play for the Flemish Lions. The Canadians, though, are spread all around as Mertens levels the score again, or rather puts Belgium a point ahead again. These Canadian players play for clubs such as the London Annihilators, the Ottawa Stingers, the BC Bandits, the Quebec Impact, Winnipeg, Calgary Inferno. And just how popular is the sport in Canada overall?
Well, Canada actually founded the sport, so it's very popular. The United States has definitely made an impact in the sport, but this is Canada's sport, and they want to hang on to that. Looks like we have a player down. It could be Pico Dijonais.
So Canada will be desperate for their first gold medal. This became an Olympic sport, a Paralympic sport, back in 2000. And the USA have taken 2 of the 3 gold medals. And Degonay is back on his wheels. Clatters into Mertens and makes the space. For Lavoie.
Maybe a penalty goal for Kant. He reached in there and tried to get the ball out. He's willing to give that up in order to try and pop it out of his lap.
And now
good work behind his low pointer there, following his lead block.
So for people watching this sport who may know other sports, the low pointers are often like the linebackers in American football. It's their job to make the space for the players who can be the creative ones.
Right, and you'll see the man with the ball taking his time, waiting for that opportunity to develop where he can follow his block out.
And here they come again, Canada. Ian Chan this time. Belgium unable to shake them off so far in this first quarter.
A little give and go. Now they got the ball where they want it in Lars's hands.
Mertens, though, will need a couple of blockers now to help him out.
Defensively, the team's only allowed 3 people inside that key area.
And Canada were at the full extremity there, which is why Belgium get the goal. And people may have noticed as well that there are different types of chairs out on the court as well. That there's a difference between defensive and offensive chairs.
The people I'm referring to as low pointers, you'll see they have kind of what looks like a cow catcher on the front of their chair. It's intended to grab onto the chair of a ball handler, slow them down enough so that they can get some help or to stop them completely.
And the offensive players like Mertens have wings on them to give them added protection, and it's one of the low pointers who'll go over to score now. Verhagen. He's a 1.5 classification player. And Canada are in a match here in the first quarter.
Chan working hard to get across half court, but now he can take his time. Waiting for an opportunity to get the ball. Oh, nice.
Hirschfeld going through.
Keeping it tight, tied up.
And you do wonder whether Belgium are expending too much energy in simply retaining parity here with Canada, and whether the Canadians, with that added strength and depth, will come strong later on. Well, Mertens again.
Chan will duck underneath.
Now the whistle goes. Hirschfeld was wheeling towards the key.
Looks like we have an equipment timeout. If a player has an equipment problem, they're allowed to get a free timeout in order to change it, as long as the ball is not advancing toward the goal. Unless you're on offense and you have the ball, then you can call it at any time.
That's the equivalent of a pit stop there.
Right. You have 1 minute to get your equipment fixed, and if you're unable to, then you have to sub out. So technical foul?
Well, there on the sidelines is
Not sure what happened
Frederick
there.
Windy.
Canada's making a lineup change. We've got Garrett Hickling in there, who's 3'5". He's at the top classification. And you'll see him with the ball a lot. He's tall, so they like to get it in over the top of players, and then he distributes it from there.
Hickling
Nice
playing
hit
for
by
the
Whitehead.
London Annihilators, but that's London, Canada, not the host city here. And two of the Belgians have now become linked together, and that's where the offensive and defensive chairs don't quite work.
Those back wheels are safety equipment, and sometimes they get caught up in other parts of other chairs.
Another big crowd inside this basketball arena.
Another turnover. Canada taking advantage, hopefully. That's what they're looking for.
Coming into the game for Belgium is Gunther Mershout. He's a 1.0 classification player.
And Belgium set up in a key defense, hoping to keep Canada out here.
The clock is running.
And they'd like to run down the clock enough so that they can keep Belgium to one possession, but still get another possession for themselves. 57 seconds gives them that opportunity.
Hickling with the score.
And Belgium with a breakaway here.
And they will score as well. And there may yet be two possessions in this first quarter. Again, their captain. And it's Hickling. Again, won't catch him. Not a good place to be a photographer.
See that reach for the ball? All you have to do is get it so that it's loose. When he crosses the goal line, he needs to have control of the ball in order to get the goal. So it's worth that reach. A penalty goal is the same as a goal without a penalty.
Canada looking to build a 2-point lead here, which would be the largest margin for either side so far in the game. Hickling. And the space created for him.
He's going to try and eat up some of this clock. And you'll see them drop back, most of them. And one player will force a touch.
Canada, it's a race. And do they get there in time?
It was close.
Mertens was upended, and they're claiming the point, but it's not been given. I'm sure Belgium would like a look at the replay there. The charge from Mertens, and they believe that De Gin got the ball in time. Mertens ends the first quarter upended. And it's not been given.
I think they're saying that the clock expired before he crossed the line, or he crossed the line without the ball. See here. Clock expired.
Very, very tight, but
very close.
It's a game of tenths of seconds when you get to that stage. So Canada have a 2-point lead at the end of the first quarter. But Belgium acquitted themselves very well there. Their experienced players spent a lot of time on the court, and it was justified.
Yes, you can see them breathing pretty heavily, but they did a good job. And they came very close to scoring the last-second goal there and keeping it within one.
So 16-14 to Canada in a game they really have to win to maintain their gold medal hopes. Two teams from 4 go through to the medal rounds. But they'll have to cope with the likes of Mertens in the second quarter, but they do have the pace of the youngster, Zach Maydell. . And how will the players appreciate the atmosphere here? It's a full house virtually every day, 10,000 people, and many of them are neutrals, but they always tend to root for one side or the other. Is it very different to the sort of atmosphere they experience when they're playing at home?
Well, most of the games that I play in the United States, most of the games we play in have significantly less spectators. Most of these guys, the younger guys who have been playing at home, have never seen a crowd like this. So their first games, I'm sure they had some butterflies. But now it's all business. And the energy is great. It really gets them going. You can see it in their faces.
So second quarter underway. Maydell through again. And do you think it was possible that Kevin Orr, the coach, was maybe saving Maydell for this game by not giving him a huge amount of game time against Australia?
Entirely possible. He's a young guy. He's 18 years old, so he's got a lot of rugby in front of him.
Not just in this tournament as well. And we're held up again while the officials have a discussion with one of the Belgian players. And that's Bob Vanacker. And this just helps to break up the intensity of the game, and certainly Belgium weren't helped by that break towards the end of the first quarter.
Doesn't appear happy with whatever the decision was. That referee is Mitch Carr. He's from the United States. Excellent referee. But you would have to be to ref at this level.
You can't be weak if you're doing wheelchair rugby. But plenty of school children are here. First week of school for many back in England. And rather than double maths, are here at the Paralympic Games.
Oh,
Janin. Oh,
pass. Got lucky with that one.
absolutely.
They'll take it.
Mertens, though, closed down very, very quickly by Funk. And he's got the support, though. Oh, just about over the line. Ronald Verhagen there. Had to take a couple of Canadians with him. Maydell. He chooses to go all the way himself. And just overthrowing the pass full of Watt.
Nice save.
And now Maydell with the block, and he gets it back.
Good communication there.
Oh, and that's given away, and Maydell will steal. And that's a gift.
Yeah, Belgium's going to have to keep better control of the ball. You only get so many opportunities. Canada's not going to turn it over very often. No team is at this level.
And it's a 4-point lead. Verhagen over halfway. Quickly held up by Maydell.
He's waiting for Mertens.
Mertens. Maydell sticking to him like glue there. Shot clock inside 10 seconds now. Real traffic ahead of him, but Mertens tries to burrow his way through, and the shot clock expires before he got there.
That was a great effort.
But if you've got two big men in big wheelchairs ahead of you, it's difficult to force your way through.
Especially if one of them has those claws out in the front on the low point chair. What we call a picker.
And the Belgium defense is coughing up points at one end, and they're finding Canada very durable at the other. As Janin comes off. And here was Mertens there. Just trying to force his way through. And you can see 0, and he was still just short of the line. Vanacker looks like he's about to come back in.
Ian Chan and Trevor Hirschfeld back in.
There is Chan. Long pass. Maydell gets there. And Canada just beginning to pull away here. Here's Mertens. Again. And the long pass, and that's great play.
Excellent pass.
Verhagen, unopposed inside the key.
Their captain took his time there and waited for something to develop so he could get rid of the ball.
And how difficult is it to not constantly follow the ball when you're on defense? You've got to be wary of things like that.
Yeah,
Maydell comes through here.
You need to know what to expect from your teammates and what your responsibility is, and you have to trust that your teammates are going to take care of theirs. Developing that level of trust is key at this.
And here is Mertens, unopposed this time. Because people imagine, before they watched wheelchair rugby, that it is basically people smashing into each other all the time, and there is that level of physical confrontation, but the technical skills can't be ignored as well.
No, not at all. You can easily give up a play or a goal going for that big hit, as much fun as it is to make. You need to pick your opportunities.
Here's Chen. Taking the outside route. He's got Maydell.
Nice job of spreading it out there.
And because Maydell's quick, he's giving options, isn't he, around the key as well?
Yes, and you can see that he's been playing with this team for a while. He knows where to be so that he can be open to catch that pass.
Mertens. Hirschfeld forcing him around. Maydell also causing pressure before Maydell goes straight through the back of Denin. And now it's a strain over the line, but Verhagen makes it. Just holding up Jared Funk there. Maydell. And that was good vision.
Hirschfeld. Nice push.
Hirschfeld just gathering in.
It's difficult for the low pointers to get to the ball sometimes because of that picker out in front of them. They have to catch it off to the side because if it hits the front of your chair, it's gone.
And a timeout is called, I think.
I believe that was Belgium. Try and regroup here.
Well, they're still in touch in this game, but Canada have extended their lead by 3 so far in the second quarter. Helped by the pace of Zach Maydell.
Yeah, I think it's that shows a lot of trust that Coach Kevin Orr is allowing the rookie to cover Mertens. The speed is an excellent weapon.
Well, he only recently graduated from high school, so he's a real youngster, yet to pursue a university career, if that's what he chooses to do. But he's here, a Paralympian at the age of 18.
Heck of a young athlete.
Mertens, fed by his captain.
He drew all the attention. He was able to make that pass.
Canada looking for the quick response here. Lavoie all the way. And now the former player coach, Bob Vanacker, comes into the game. And the captain will head towards the key and over the line.
Did a nice job keeping chair position there so that Lavoie couldn't get in front of him and stop him. So he's got 3. There's got to be somebody open.
And there he is.
Pico Digenet.
And was that an error by Belgium to get sucked towards the ball there, to leave somebody so wide open?
Someone wasn't doing their job. They were trying to help out on the ball, and it's really tempting to go after when it's right there.
And at the other end, Mertens brings Belgium back within 4. Here's Canada again, and yet again, it's an uncontested path to the line for Lavoie, but that's tribute to his players inside him. And Mertens in behind the cover again, and the question is, how long can the likes of Mertens carry on deep into the 4th quarter and keep it a contest?
Like all these athletes, they train 5, 6, 7 days a week, many hours. They're built to do it if they need to. But you can't deny that when you're pushing against other athletes who are equally as in shape, that if you don't get some rest in there, it's going to take its toll.
Lavoie continues his personal scoring streak towards the end of the first half. But there's the response from the captain.
Belgium making sure to try and score quickly. The clock's not their friend at this point. They want to see if they can pick up 1 or 2 before half so they can have an opportunity to get back into this game.
And there's a fight for possession there, which is lost by Vanacker. And timeout called by the Canadians. No, sorry, some interchanges made by the Canadians. Grant Hickling coming back into the game again. He was very effective at the end of the first quarter. He was the MVP at the first 3 Wheelchair Rugby World Championships.
He's been playing a long time.
No room forward there for Vanacker.
You'll see one of the reasons they brought Hickling back in is for his height.
And he was blocking off the Belgian captain there. And the whistle goes.
It's hard to pass over the top of a guy who's got a long reach like that. So you put him in the middle and force them to work one side or the other.
And Belgium will get the ball back. Mertens. There's no one there to drive a hole through for him, so he goes himself, belatedly held by the captain.
He's slippery.
Not an adjective you would apply to Hickling, but here he comes. Had support ahead of him from Hirschfield. Now Whitehead, who's been used sparingly so far. Hickling.
Dribble.
Just backing his way in.
You really have to protect the ball when you're going backward because it's out there for anybody to grab.
Bang!
Whitehead again, stopping 2 chairs.
Oh, another one. That was Hickling, but it's Mertens who will score.
Great pass.
And Hickling there, smashing into Denin, but as a result, Mertens was in. And it's a 2-point game, as it was at the end of the first quarter. But it will become a 3-point game now, as Hirschfield tries to wind up the clock.
They're going to use as much as they can.
But if they don't score, then that would have been a rather strange move.
True, it's
You're backing yourselves here, aren't you? Yeah.
People discuss whether or not that's the best decision, but as long as you can score.
Well, timeout is called with a second to play.
And the reason Canada does that is that when you call timeout, you get 15 more seconds on the shot clock, so they can run out the clock and not give Belgium another opportunity to score. And they must also be considering the possession arrow because based on the tip and then any held balls in the game, possession change, the arrow changes just like in basketball.
Well, they do score eventually. Trevor Hirschfield.
The 5.9 seconds is enough time for Mertens to get down the floor with that ball.
But just when it seemed that Canada were about to pull away, Belgium have stuck in this game. And Belgium have had plenty of time to think about this.
I think Canada thought it was their ball there for a second. The clock doesn't start until a player on the court touches the ball.
And Mertens doesn't find his teammate, Vanacker. And that was the gamble, which doesn't pay off for Belgium.
He took a shot. Canada let it run out here. Going to halftime with a 3-point lead.
But Belgium have given them a real battle so far. And the quality of players like Mertens and Denin.
Yeah, no, he blew it up himself. To our side's advantage.
And Hickling there, just having a discussion with the officials.
Knowing he can't change anything, but hoping that maybe it will change something in the future.
Maybe just sow the odd seed of doubt in the referee's mind. But half-time here. In the second game in Group B, Canada lead Belgium 29-26. So the second half of the second game for these teams in the wheelchair rugby at London 2012. A 3-point lead for Canada at half-time, but David Mengen, the game's not over yet. Canada can't take this for granted.
No, you can't count out a team like Belgium. Got team speed, they got a lot of experience, and they've been here before.
And the big players for Belgium, including number 8, Lars Mertens, are still out there on the court. And Canada, as we said before, do have more strength in depth here to rotate their players and bring on somebody of the quality of Garrett Hickling at the end of each quarter to just see them through. A big win for Australia already today in this group, and they look to be the team to beat, along with the USA, here at London 2012 so far.
Well, Belgium has their opportunity with Australia tomorrow, but I know that Canada would like another opportunity to try that. Some redemption. The winner here is likely to make that medal round.
I think there's been a change to the scoreline during half-time as well. Just hearing that on the public address in the stadium.
I'm sure we'll see that here in a moment. That'll be Patrice Simard inbounding.
Yes, Canada have a 4-point lead. So Belgium have been docked a goal there from somewhere.
I expect the coach contested the score. It's
Well,
a difficult.
Sorry, go on.
It's a difficult thing to contest because unless you can point to something that the referees can recall, there's no way to determine.
So maybe Garrett Hickling's conversation with the referee at half-time may have
Quite possibly
led to something. But it's a 5-point lead now. The opening point scored by Ian Chan. Mertens now with the pace all the way. Before Mike Whitehead just make sure he can't make his way back towards the halfway without being bumped.
Keep him close. Looks like that was off Ian Chan's chair. Oh, maybe not.
Shamar will throw in again for Canada. Chen going long. And no problem there for Samar, who went all the way from one corner of the court to the other, completely unchecked.
Verhagen trying to get in.
And here is Vanica. Whitehead again, he's a real enforcer. And the whistle goes. And Vanica's not having the happiest game so far, was unable to gather a long pass from Mertens inside the key right at the end of the quarter. And now
He knew he didn't have any help and he was facing the wrong direction. That was a good call to prevent a turnover.
But does it do some damage to the pride when you've got somebody else shunting you around the court?
Not really. You're going to have opportunities where you're not going to be in control of the situation, and timeout is an opportunity to get it back.
Here's Mertens again. He's the speed merchant. Chen tries to barge him out, but no problem this time.
fake pass there.
And Chen can roll in unopposed.
Two lead blockers. Give Vaneker an opportunity to get across half court without any trouble.
And he could go all the way himself. Takes the long way around, but evades Samad. And they remain in touch here, Belgium. But it's a 5-point lead again, and Samad's been very busy at the start of the third quarter.
Yeah, he's starting most of the time outside of the court and going all the way down. Taking it across the other line. And Canada's defense forces a timeout there. Each team only has 4, so obviously Belgium thought that was going to keep them from having a 10-second violation inbounding the ball.
School days were never like this when I went to school, not in the first week anyway.
Yeah, they got to be enjoying that. Plus, for a lot of people, this is a sport like they've never seen.
Absolutely. It was the same in the Olympics, carried on in the Paralympics. And I suppose people have always talked about legacy, and if people get more interested in a sport like this here in Great Britain, then that is a really good legacy for the Paralympics.
Absolutely. And for the sport itself. It's a big sport. It's played all over the world. We have 40-plus teams just in the United States.
And that was stolen there by Maydell. And coming into the game is Jared Funk.
I believe he's in the penalty box. And that would be why Belgium has the ball.
And also the man over. Not quite sure what he did there. It was off the ball.
Wasn't able to pick that up. Well, Maydell has speed. He doesn't have the hands. It's a little more difficult to catch those balls.
And it's difficult when you've got Mertens barging you off the side of the court as well. And now Maydell gives him some back. Mertens manages to extricate himself from that situation, and it's a 3-point game again. And they're not going away, Belgium, are they?
No. They're persistent.
But Maydell at the other end has time. And the maple leaves in evidence all around the basketball arena. And if you know the Olympic Park, we're close to the velodrome at the far end from the Olympic Stadium, not too far away from the riverbank, as Mertens scores, which is hosting the football tournaments here at the Paralympics.
It's a big Brazil-Argentina rivalry going on right now.
Absolutely. Can't move for South Americans outside. As Maydell scores. In. Mertens.
Looking for some help. Now they're across half court. They can take their time.
And there's a 5-chair shunt there. And there's absolutely nothing that he could do there.
Couldn't get the ball out of there. Couldn't dribble. So it's a turnover. He wasn't able to dribble.
And Maydale gets there in time. 3 unanswered points from Canada in quick succession.
Jared Funk got his hooks in there.
And now Mertens needs a block, and he gets it. Good work there by Verhagen, just making sure that Whitehead couldn't do one of his big hits. But there's a man over, and very quickly that's chalked off, and Maydale restores the 5-point lead. And Canada just doing enough at the moment.
Belgium's having to work harder to get across half court. They're going to pay the toll for that.
Mertens.
Without the depth.
It was a 2-on-1 for a second. And Jared Funk didn't know who to go to there. And with Mertens going forward at pace, and as you say, he's slippery, isn't he?
He is. I've played against him, and I don't want to be alone out there on the court with him. He's just going to make me look silly.
He was the All-Star in the last World Championships. And he's also spent plenty of time training in the US, which is a real sign of how well he's regarded.
It's a great opportunity to play a lot more often. Many countries don't have as many teams, so they don't get as many tournaments, get that experience in.
And it's the quality, isn't it? It's the quality of opposition as well.
Certainly. It's a larger pool of players to choose from.
Over halfway in the third quarter. Still a 4-point game. And Belgium could get closer here. The ball turned over. Denin. And Mertens will streak away again.
Cut that lead back down to 3. They can keep the momentum.
Australia beating Sweden 60-47 in this group earlier on today. And they're back on the court tomorrow morning against Belgium before Canada meets Sweden in what really is the key game in the group as far as second place is concerned, you would think.
Well, if things turn out the way they're going right now. I hear a flat tire. And he'll call equipment. Get that changed real quick.
There was the turnover. Maydale
Whitehead
right
wasn't ready
into
for that pass.
And Verhagen just having the repairs done, a new inner tube or something like that.
Yeah, those quick release wheels are really handy, so they can go and change it off on the side.
Watching the wheelchair basketball, it's amazing how the players just pop one off and pop one on, and they're straight back in the action. It's Great Britain in action later on as well. They play the French in their second match, having played well against USA, only losing 56-44 yesterday, and you can watch that game on Paralympic.org. Also go on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Paralympic Games, or on Twitter, as I know many of you have, @Paralympic. Mertens on the barge. And he'd not got the ball over the line before.
Lost control. Whitehead got his hands in there.
And that's a victory for Mike Whitehead.
Oh, it might have been Trevor.
Just backing up there.
Hirschfield did it.
And that must feel like an American football linebacker performing a sack there, something like that.
And Whitehead didn't even get to see what happened, but he knew. So
He knew he was in the right vicinity.
Yeah. Little celebration there.
Shen not helped by the pass there, right inside the key, but Canada bring the ball away.
We've got a new line in here.
But that was good defensive play, the block from Verhagen. And the ball almost dropped there, but Lavoie does well to stay upright and score, and it's a 5-point game again. USA playing the late game tonight against Japan.
Nice job forcing that over.
Verhagen. And Belgium just about staying in touch here. Some big hits and over he goes. Fabien Lavoie eating some court there.
Question is, did they call that a spin? If you hit the player behind the axle like that, it's probably going to be called a spin because it puts them in danger.
And he's into the penalty box.
Where he'll sit for a minute or until Canada scores a goal.
And that's the cue for Garrett Hickling to return to the game. He's what you call a clutch play. He only plays about 8 minutes, doesn't he? But it's always at the important time of the game.
I think it depends on how people are playing as lines and what the matchups are like. He saw a lot more play time, I think, in the first game.
And Denin is back in the game. Mertens all the way again.
Sounded like Whitehead might have a flat tire.
We have to see if anyone does go off. There's Hirschfield there.
Somebody's got a flat tire.
Yep, you were right.
Verhagen there, just waiting to get in position to keep him from moving.
Oh, and that's scrappy. Hirschfield on the deck.
That worked out for Canada. Little trouble with the exchange there, and they got lucky getting it back.
Yep. It was intended for Whitehead, but it struck Hirschfield on the head, and he was the player who came off worst. And that's fine play. The vision from Hickling, and this time Hirschfield uprighted and over the line.
Yeah, as you said, the court vision, knowing where your guys are, keeping your head up. That's what made that happen. Looks like Canada's dropping back in the key, trying to slow things down. Make sure Belgium can't come back here.
Mertens squeezing in.
Really good work on the corner. Jared Funk thought he had him locked out.
He's got that look, hasn't he? Mertens, when he crosses the line, just say, look, it's my job.
That is his job. He's been there across that line many, many times before. Looks like Hickling has a problem with the wheel as well. Go through a lot of tubes in this sport.
We haven't seen the one female player in the Belgium team yet. Bieke Kettlebooters, one of only 2 women in the tournament. The other plays for GB, Carly Grimes. 5-point lead again. Hirschfield. And Belgium.
He'll set up a play here. They're discussing it and working down the clock.
Not thinking about a 2-possession game, not gambling on that.
They want to get the final goal, and I'm guessing that they have the possession arrow in their favor, so they'll get the ball back at the end of the quarter.
Mertens.
He's got a guy inside.
Goes on the outside and forces his way over again.
But he left Canada 9 seconds.
But it's spilled. Ball turned over to Ginn. Mertens. And that's a real bonus, but it doesn't count. And Canada got very lucky there.
Missed exchange. Great opportunity for Belgium. And they kept Canada from getting down and scoring in that 9 seconds.
But they'll be disappointed. They didn't score themselves. And look at that, nothing to choose between them in the third quarter. So it remains a 4-point lead. Mertens remains a scorer. Maydell has spent plenty of time off the court in this quarter.
Well, that's that depth you talked about of Canada. And I think you'll see here in this fourth quarter that Belgium's going to have a little more difficulty if it turns into a running game, back and forth, running up the court.
That was the chance right at the end. It was good work from Whitehead to just hold him up, and time expired before he crossed the line.
Looks like Canada's got another lineup change, using that depth to their advantage.
But they may have hoped they would have been further ahead by now and they could have given a few people a rest, but they can't take this one for granted yet. Belgium also rotating their team. Degenace coming back into the play. So it's Mushout who is back in the game for Belgium. So the final quarter, and it's all to play for.
Canada working the double-double. 2 players on each of the ball handlers for Belgium. They're able to get it in.
That's Mertens again. Needs support.
He's got 3.
A log jam between himself and the line. Nice move from the captain there. He almost runs into his teammate. And that's good defensive work from Canada yet again.
Wilsey's got good hands. He gets in there all the time. He's certainly not Canada's fastest player, but he's smart.
44-year-old, plays for the London Annihilators.
Looks like Merton's got the foul there, reaching in for the ball. That in someone's lap, there's a cylinder that extends upward where a player is protected. So if they've got their hands on the ball and they lift it up and down, if there's any contact made, it's always going to be a call against the defender.
And Hickling twisting and turning all the way. So Merton's now back in the game. Well, eventually.
Canada executing a trap there very well. Jump ball. I'm not sure which way the possession arrow is right now. Looks like Belgium seems to be setting up on defense, if I saw it correctly.
Maybe just the odd sign that Canada
Nope.
are beginning to pull away in this game, but Belgium have the ball. Hickling starting the final quarter. Merton's away again. He'll get the block from Guinin.
That's exactly what that block made that play.
Hickling gets the ball away. And now there's a man over. And it's a roll in for Samad. Oh, given away.
We'll see with the interception.
And the veteran is in, and that was a real gift. Maybe a sign of mental as much as physical tiredness now. But he's looking to make amends, Guinin, and he does. That was a point born of anger, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think Wilsey got frozen too, trying to make a decision which way to play defense. Timeout by Canada.
And here was the mistake. Still some work to do there for Wilsey.
Vaneker back in. Gave him a little bit of rest, hoping that it would make a difference for him. As we'll see.
Hickling. He's still got the pace, the old man. Now Guinin.
Hirschfield upside down again.
No, he's put himself about a bit so far. And Ludwig Budenes.
Looks like Vaneker put him over there.
Budenes in the game for the first time. There he is.
Following his block.
Verhagen with the block. And right on the line. Hickling fighting for it. But he got the ball over.
Hickling using his height.
And there we are. Good blocking either side.
Textbook use of that block too. drag the player over so that his defender could get into position and leave him a hole on the outside.
Banneker.
Rossi's persistent, but he's able to get through, but
Not in time.
10 seconds, no dribble. He was looking for help, and you can see he's not happy about it.
And that's what you call defending from the front. And Canada's game just beginning to unravel now. Hickling goes in on the far side. And it's a 7-point lead. But Denin has a clear road through.
Chelsea not taking any chances there, calling timeout. Didn't see any help.
And Canada just about pulling away, but the game's not finished yet. And they may be disappointed that they've not been able to build up a winning lead before now, as Maydell back in the game, back over the line.
He's had a lot of rest, so he's going to be fresh, a lot of speed.
Oh.
It's pretty hard too.
He's back again. And he bounces off him this time, and it's a run in for Budenas.
It's good ball movement. There's no match for Whitehead speed-wise.
And that strength and depth we were talking about really coming to the fore now for Canada. Denin has spent virtually the whole game out on the court. He's the man over now, but he can't be found. Banneker trapped. So the captain has to come back and retrieve. Mertens waiting on the sideline, on the edge of the line as Banneker goes in.
They worked hard for that one. They seem to have plenty of energy.
Yeah, they're sticking with it, Belgium. But you get the feeling Canada will just do enough to hold them off in the end.
Well, Belgium doesn't have enough speed out there to keep up with the youngster.
Maydell, and the bump there from Hirschfeld on Budenas just to make sure. And that's another big hit from Whitehead. He must go to bed dreaming about hits like that, and some of the ones he's pulled off today.
You can almost see him licking his chops. Good heads-up play.
Yeah, Maydell picking out the pass. And Hirschfeld takes it to the house again. And Belgium have been hurt by those turnovers the longer the game has gone on. Banneker.
Like mosquitoes, the two of them just hitting, just not leaving you alone.
Yeah. They are real pests. And they double teamed really well there. Vanica. Just held up outside the key, but over the top for Budenas.
Still plenty of fight left in Belgium.
And they've stuck with this very well. Medel. But they're just beginning to run out of steam. He looks too fresh-faced to be smashing into people on the court. Bang, he's there again. That was a risky pass over the shoulder.
Oh, Whitehead, that hit caused that turnover.
And the ball dribbles away.
Get a guy moving backward when he's trying to make a pass, and the pass doesn't go anywhere near as far as you expect it to. Plus, sometimes it's just enough to shake somebody up as they get rid of the ball.
Gathered in by Hirschfield. Denin.
Trying to make a pass to himself. And that wasn't over and back because a Canadian player touched the ball, caused it to go back in the backcourt. At least that's what the call would be.
Clearly being saved for games coming up. Oh, he won't make it. Medel, and the ball is loose, and Budenas does well to regather.
Great play. Getting to that ball and making the turn, hanging on to it as the hit comes.
And that was heads-up play from the captain as well. It was all a bit scrappy, but they got there in the end. But Canada respond, Hirschfield.
So contact before the whistle. You're not allowed to make contact with other players in between the whistles. It's all about gaining position. And you'll see the teams that are successful, you see a lot of movement in between when the ball's sitting on the sidelines. To get that position, you can win the point. Belgium across half.
Budenas again.
Is that Hirschfield again on his back?
Somebody went flying. Yep.
Oh, I think it's Patrice Simard. Oh, I was wrong. It's Hirschfield. He's spent a lot of time on the hardwood today.
There must be just some days where it happens to you all the time.
Well, there's some players, too, that end up there a lot. I know Fabien Lavoie, he gets one wheel up in the air a lot and ends up on the floor. I guess that's part of the speed and part of the adjustments that you make to your chair to make you more agile.
He's back in the game, and that's a great play. The vision from Wilsey, and the finish from Hickling.
Ducks it underneath the defender.
Well, we knew there'd be a man over there because there were 2 or 3 players swarming around him as Budenas contact before he crossed over the line there. And the final minute. Canada are going to win this game, but they've been made to fight all the way by Belgium.
That's unfortunately too little too late for Belgium. Got a reach in there by Simard. We'll go to the box. With an 8-point lead, 42 seconds.
That should be that.
Belgium just playing for their pride at this point. Just finish the game. Try and finish strong. Go into their final game of pool play.
And they bring up the half century. Vanica. but it will be 2 points, or 2 defeats rather, in 2 games for Belgium.
And with Australia ahead of them, they've got a rough road.
Yeah, things will get a lot harder maybe tomorrow with a team that's been beaten up at times today. Here's Hickling.
A Belgian player crossed the goal line, so he'll go into the penalty box.
Vaneke.
I don't know if Vaneke was forced or if he crossed the line trying to end the play.
And this will be the final play. Hickling. Oh, in the end.
I think you'll see Belgium just trying to collect the ball here.
Well, it's intercepted, and that's it. Canada off the mark here. A game they simply had to win to retain their medal hopes, and they have won. 58-50 in the end. But I'm sure that was a lot harder than they'd have appreciated.
Belgium put up a good fight, especially early on. But Canada did a good job of tightening things up and taking advantage of the lack of depth of Belgium.
Hardly a thrashing, though. That 4-point swing in the final quarter. Canada overcoming Belgium in their second game, 58-50. So both teams with the post-match appreciation of their efforts. And there we see Canada winning 58-50 in the end. And those 9 turnovers really hurting Belgium, particularly later on in the match. But they deserve a warm ovation from their supporters, and Canada will hope there are bigger games coming up ahead. And they have a big one against Sweden coming up tomorrow, which will probably decide who finishes second behind Australia and makes progress through to the semi-finals. That's all from here in the basketball arena. And on the international channel now, let's join a big night of swimming.
Sound for television. Right channel.
Well, with a fight like that, when there is so much emotion, you just can't help but feel the drama in the room. But it's even better if you really understand what's going on. So, we're going to educate you now. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
Developed in the years after World War II, wheelchair fencing was first introduced in Rome in 1960 and has been part of the Paralympic program ever since. All the action is taking place here at Excel, right in the heart of London's Docklands. Wheelchair fencing